Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Dan from DHTV, and today we've got the first part to the beginner's guide to the MacBook Air, and I'm going to be showing you how you can use this new M2 MacBook Air and all the features within it. Let's get started. Alright, now if you haven't watched the previous video where we set up your MacBook Pro and you're not on this section here, you want to go back, watch that video, and then come back to this one. Now there's a link in the description to the full playlist of the beginner's guide to the MacBook Air with tips, tricks, and tutorials. So if you are interested in checking out more videos, check out that link. Now for starters, we have our MacBook already turned on. We've opened the lid, we've put in our password or used Touch ID right here to log in, which you would have learned in the previous video. But basically at this point, this is what you should be looking at. Now I'm going to be using my mouse here to move around. You can see my cursor as I go. And basically what we're going to look at first is our desktop. And that's just the same as it was on Windows, or if you had a previous Mac, this is your desktop here. So it's your wallpaper where you can change your background and you can add different files, photos, programs, and things like that. So if you do want to customize this a little bit, you can just right click. So that's a 2-finger press on your trackpad and it brings up your options. And you would use these 2 fingers anytime pressing on the trackpad if you need to access that secondary click or your right click. And we're going to just look through these options here and change desktop background. And this is going to open up our system preferences in our desktop and screensaver section here where we can customize the desktop and the screensaver. So basically here we can choose any one of these backgrounds and you can see they're already preset up on how it's going to look with dark mode and light mode. And you're just going to go through it, choose the one you want. You can use your own photos if you have them already set up on your computer, which we don't, or you just use the desktop picture. So for example, if you wanted this red one, you can see that right now I have it set to automatic. So in the day, light mode, in the evening, it should switch to dark mode. But you can actually check it out, what it'll look like in light mode and in dark mode. And then just make your decision right there. I'm going to leave it on automatic. And then you can do the same with your screensaver here. Just go through this list, choose the one you want, set the time you want it, or you can turn it off completely just by unchecking this box here and you will not have a screensaver. Okay, so we're just going to leave it as is there. I'm going to put my screen back to where it was and we're going to just click the red X to exit that screen. And that's how Macs work. You're going to use the red X in the top left rather than the X at the top right if you were familiar with Windows. So that's our desktop, and I'll show you how to add things to it a little bit later. Now at the top here we have this bar, and this bar on the left side here works all the way across on your Mac. You can see in the middle we have our camera, and then on the right side here we have some extra features as well. Now what we look at on the left side is this Apple logo. Anytime, wherever you are on your Mac, when you see this bar, this Apple logo will be there. And this is how you can access things like about your Mac, system preferences, quitting, sleep, restart, shut down. So if you need to shut down the computer at any time, you're going to click on that Apple logo, click shut down, and it'll pop up to shut down right here. And you can click shut down. And following that is the name of the application that you have open. When you have nothing open, it's defaulting to Finder. If I had something open, like I had Safari or Chrome, you'll see that it now pops up with Safari next to the Apple logo, and everything following that is representing what you can do within that app. So if I go back to my Finder, it switches to Finder, and if you click on it, you'll see all the options you have for that specific application, and then following it is the different settings and features you can use with it. Again, in the middle, you have your camera. So if you're doing Zoom calls or FaceTime, you would be using that. And then to the right side, we have some extra options here. And it starts with the battery icon. If you click on it, you can see that our battery percentage is 61%. The power source is battery. Obviously, if we had it connected to a power source, it would let you know that it is plugged to the charger. You have battery preferences, which you can open up. And I strongly recommend you kind of go through this just to modify some of these features. For example, the display is going to dim and turn off after a minute. If you won't want that to happen, you want to then click there and you can see you're going to get options. So for me, if I set it this way, it's going to use more energy with these settings. Thus, I'm going to have less battery power. So you want to choose where you want this dial to be. So when the screen will turn off, let's just set it to about 15 minutes. And then go through all of these. For example, the slightly dim the display on battery power. I hate this feature. It just dims the screen way too quick. I turn that off. You want optimizing battery charging. I recommend this. That way it reduces the battery aging, and then the battery status on the menu. So that way you can see it. If I take it away, you can see we lose the battery icon up there. So I'd rather that be on. And then you have low power if you need to conserve the battery if you're running low. You can also check your battery health, which is recommended as time progresses. You can see that we're already at maximum capacity, 100%. This is a brand new MacBook Air. As time goes on, you'll see this diminish down to 96%, 91%, 90%. And as that diminishes, the battery is not going to be as good. But these computers are pretty decent at holding their battery for quite a few years. All right, so we're going to close that out. The next one is our Wi-Fi. So if you ever need to connect to Wi-Fi, you have your options here. Just click on it. You can connect to your Wi-Fi, open up your network preferences, even use personal hotspot. If you have iPhones or personal hotspot phones connected and on, you can connect to those as well. A little bit more advanced. If you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. But mainly your Wi-Fi connection. So if you aren't connected, you can turn it on and then just click on your Wi-Fi network, enter your password, and you're connected. Next, we have our Spotlight search, and this is a quick search. So anytime you want to find something on your computer, have Siri suggestions, look on the internet using Safari, you just type, for example, MacBook Air, and it's going to pull up all the search results that are on your computer, Siri suggestions, website searches that it can find, definitions, store, and it'll go down as it finds things. This is a brand new computer, so I don't have any files that represent this, but you'll have more content that pops up as you fill your computer with different apps, different programs, files, folders, all that good stuff. It's a good feature, especially when you load things up. It's a quick way to find what you're looking for. The next one is our Control Center. So if you're familiar with how your iPhone works, this is Control Center. You can play around with the dials here and then access the display. You also have display controls on your keyboard. So F1 and F2 will allow you, and you can see at the bottom as I'm pressing them, it'll allow you to control the brightness of the computer. I'm going to leave it on full for this video. Same with sound, you have controls there as well. F11, F12, and then F10 will mute it. You can see it's muting it down there. Or you can just use the Control Center. You have your quick access to Wi-Fi, to Bluetooth, AirDrop, more advanced, don't worry if you don't know what that means. Keyboard brightness, screen mirroring, more advanced features here, focus. But this is where you would access these features. Anything I'm not talking about right now is a little bit more advanced, so we don't need to focus on it. And then whatever content you have playing usually will appear down here, so you can play, pause, whether it's YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, whatever you might use. Beside that, we have Siri. So if you did enable Siri during your setup, you can access Siri here just by clicking. You'll see Siri pops up. You can ask her anything you want, whatever you're looking for, and then she'll kind of work with you depending on what you said. Last one here is your date and time. It's set by default during the setup process where you're located and things like that, but you can click on it and it'll bring up your widgets window, and you can customize these widgets. By default, it's set like this. You have the weather, which it should be your location. You have different clocks here. You have top stories from Apple. You have the stocks, and then it looks like a calendar. That's the default. You can tap or click on edit widget at the bottom and add widgets based on the applications on the left side here that you have installed on your new MacBook Air. I don't have any that are specifically different than the pre-installed ones, but as you download more applications and programs, you'll see more widgets appear here that you can then just click on, see the different options, small, medium, large, and you just drag them in wherever you want. And you can just click on the minus to remove the ones you don't want. So whatever doesn't apply to you here, you can also click and drag. So you're just clicking on it and dragging wherever you want, just so that it's more custom to you. And that way you can access at any time. It's really easy to leave. You just click away and then click away again, and it removes it. You also have a quick trackpad ability to access that. You're just going to swipe with 2 fingers from the right side to the left, and it pulls it up like that as well. I'm not going to get into too many trackpad options because we got a complete video on how to use the trackpad with your MacBook Air. If you're interested in that, it's already in the playlist right now. All right, so now that we've gone through the desktop and the top navigation bar, we do have our dock at the bottom, and that's what this is here. This rectangular sort of box that has all these applications in it is our dock, and we can customize this dock. First off, I would recommend removing the ones you don't want here. I don't really keep too many of these. These are all the stock Apple ones. It's really simple to remove these applications. For example, if we didn't want pages here. So again, you're going to take 2 fingers and right click. It'll bring up these extra options. You go to options here, and you can then uncheck keep in dock, and then it's going to disappear. You can do that with all the different ones that you don't want. This one says remove from dock because we didn't have it open. And you can see it just disappears just like that. So whatever you don't want here, sort of go through them all, remove them. Keep in mind that Finder is always going to be in the dock. You cannot delete Finder. The second one is Launchpad. You can remove this, but this is a great one. If you click on it, it opens up sort of an app library of all the applications you have on your Mac. So it's good to have there. And you can go through this and use the search at the top to find applications. And it does have multiple pages, so you can swipe just by swiping like this on the trackpad. That way you can go through your different pages as you add more apps. Click away from anything and you'll be returned to your desktop. But you can remove it. Right click here. You can remove it from the dock. I'm going to leave it. It's a very important one for me. And you can't remove the trash all the way at the end here. This, again, you can't remove it from your dock. It must stay there. And anything you delete, so files, programs, folders, whatever, they're going to go in the trash for you to permanently delete from your Mac. This one here is downloads. I leave it here. You can remove it just by right-clicking and then selecting options, remove from dock. I like it. It's important to me, especially if you download things from Chrome, Safari, Firefox, the internet. They'll automatically go to that folder unless you set it to otherwise. So it's good to have there. So when you download something, you know, just to click here, click open, it opens your downloads and you can access them really quickly. Now, if you ever want to add anything to your dock, it's very simple. We have our Launchpad here. We'll open that again. And let's say we wanted to add our calculator to our dock so we can access it quickly. We're going to just basically go to our calculator here, use one finger, click on it. It's going to pop up on our dock. Now, if we do close this here, it's still going to stay on the dock, but it's not permanent. You can see there's almost like these little dividers here. These are the permanent ones on the left. Anything to the right isn't permanent in the middle, and then obviously you have your downloads and trash, which you can move. But that's how it sets up. You can drag these anywhere you want. So if I grab it and drag it, I can drag it to my dock. Now it's going to always be there, and it'll no longer be in that temporary middle between the two sections. So now it's here permanently. If I want to remove it again, I can right-click, remove it from my dock. But that's how you would add an app to your dock. Now, if you do want to customize the dock a little bit more, there is this system preferences settings that we can go through. If you don't see it in your dock because you removed it, open your Launchpad. You can see system preferences here. Open that up. And this is an important app because it's going to show you everything that you can customize, set up on your Mac, whether it's installing printers, finding Bluetooth options, the network. It's all going to be available to you here rather than using quick settings like we did up here. It's almost like opening the settings application on an iPhone or an Android. So very similar here. If you wanted to customize the dock a little bit more, you have dock and menu bar. You can click on that and play around with all of these settings and see how it looks. So that way, if you want to say change the size of it, you can. You can see we can really play around with it. Depending on how many apps you have in there, you may want to make it bigger or smaller. So again, that was just to sort of introduce to you the system preferences, but again, they're more advanced, but that is where it's located. All right, now that we've gone over the desktop, the menu bar, and the dock of your MacBook Air, let's talk about this Finder window a little bit more. This is going to be an important thing for you. Just like on a Windows computer, if you're coming from Windows, this is like the Explorer window. You click on it, it opens up a little window where you can see your C drive, your desktop documents, everything like that. Same thing on Mac, except it's called Finder, and it brings up the same kind of section for you. So you have your downloads, documents, desktop, and things like that. You have the different looks, so let's just click on documents. You can see that it's defaulted to this block look, but you can switch it up right here by clicking on any of these different options. This one here at the end is great if you have photos that you're looking at. It gives you a big preview here. To the right of that here, you can sort your different folders by kind, date added, things like that. You can share using AirDrop, which is more advanced, or in messages. So anything you want to share, you would click on it, click the share button, you can share that out. You can add tags. So if you want to assign tags to whatever, that way when you search for a specific tag, it'll pull all of those up. And then right here, this last one, which is going to allow you to create a new folder, open new tab and all that stuff. And creating a new folder is pretty easy. Just click on that new tab, give it a name, we'll call it test 3, and then just click away. And now you've got that third folder right there. So just choose whichever one is best for your specific needs and what you like to look at, and that's basically how it works. So just to recap quickly, Finder is where you're going to be able to access all of the folders, documents, and files you have on your computer. That way you can organize and work with them very easily. Now let's talk about how you update your MacBook Air. Over time, just like with iPhones, Apple will release different updates, and you're going to click on this little Apple icon at the top left, and you're going to see right here we have App Store, and we see 4 updates. So any apps you have, they'll pop up with updates there, but you can also click on About This Mac, and it's going to show you some information about the Mac, and you're going to be able to see there's a section here called Software Update. Anytime you click on that, it's going to check for updates as it is right here. It might take shorter amount of time or longer, but usually it's just a few seconds. And if there is an update, you'll be able to then click on Install Now, and it'll give you the prompts and walk you through the update, or it'll let you know, like we do here, the Mac is up to date. So that's pretty much where you would go to update your MacBook Air. Updating apps is very similar. As I showed you here, you can click here. It'll automatically open up the App Store. If it's your first time, it's going to prompt you like this. Just click continue, and it's going to show you the apps that need updating. As the prompts pop up through any of the applications, you want to just read it, either allow it, enable it, or not now. It's up to you. Anything you do, you can always change in settings later. But we're talking about updates. So as I showed you, it'll automatically pop up to this update page where you can then choose to update all at the top right, or just update the specific ones that are important to you. Now, if you don't click up here, you can always open the App Store on its own, either in your dock, or you can open your Launchpad and look for your App Store there. Click on it. It's going to open the App Store. It may open it here. Doesn't matter. Just click on the update section and then just click update on the apps you want to update. So for example, let's just update Keynote here. It may prompt you to enter in your Apple ID. If it does, just accept, enter in that password, and then just accept it. And it'll begin running that update. And then once the update is complete, you'll see it was updated recently. You can open it from here, or you can continue on updating individually or update them all. We'll do one more, so we'll click update here. And now you'll notice that it's automatically going to update. We've initially put in our Apple ID and our password there, so it's going to remember it. And in the future, if it does ask you, if you have set up Touch ID, you may be able to just use Touch ID instead of entering in the password. It all depends on how the Mac has been set up for this. But again, you can go into your system preferences, your Touch ID settings. You can play around with those, but again, a little bit more advanced. But you can go through that. And if we just click Update All, it's just going to go through all those updates. And while things are updating in your App Store, don't worry, you can still close it out, work on whatever you want, open up Safari. You see this is bouncing right here. It's letting us know something's up. If we click on it, you will be able to see what's downloading. You can see that one's downloading, that one's downloading. So it's just letting you know. So if you ever see it bouncing, usually means you've installed an application, the application is completed downloading, something's downloading, always something like that. So it's good that it did that while we were sort of working on things right here. So that's updating your MacBook Air and the applications. Now let's talk about installing new applications. So we're going to open the App Store once again in your dock or in your Launchpad here. Just click on App Store. It'll open up. Just like on an iPhone, even on Android, you're going to open the Google Play Store or App Store, whatever, and you're going to just use the search bar to search for the apps you want, or you can use Discover, which is going to just give you some options here that you may want to install. You have the Arcade, which is a membership service from Apple. So you see right here, you can get 3 months free. This is all about gaming and stuff like that. Creating, work, play, develop. You can click through all of these, and then categories here, which will show you all the different categories of applications you can search for. Now, if you do know the name of the specific app you're looking for, just click up there. Let's say we wanted Final Cut Pro. You can see as soon as you start typing, it'll pre-populate. We'll just click on that. This is a big application, and you can see I have a little cloud. When you see the cloud there, that means you've downloaded this application on another device using the same Apple ID. So if you're using a brand new Apple ID, you probably won't see any of these. If you're using one that you have with an iPhone or another Mac, a lot of these apps will be here like this, and you can then just click on it. It'll begin downloading it. Now, you can also see that other options do appear. If you find something you like, you can click on Get, and it'll give you the option to install. Click Install, may be prompted to enter your Apple ID, or tap the Touch ID fingerprint scanner to confirm it, and it'll go through that. Keep in mind, any paid applications that you may download, you'll have to enter in credit card information, and that it'll prompt you for that as well. So that's pretty much downloading applications, and you can see if we click on our Launchpad here, we have the Final Cut Pro installing right here, and this is quite a large application at 3.44 gigabytes, so it's going to take a little bit of time. But you'll be able to find a whole bunch of great applications right here in the App Store that are going to help you with your productivity, day-to-day, and things like that. So use the App Store first to find what you're looking for, and if you can't find it there, then you can always use Safari or Chrome and search for your download that way. Now, something you might notice over time is the applications have these little sort of circles with numbers on them. These are notifications. That's telling you that this application has some sort of update, has a notification for you. If you click on it, again, if it's the first time you're opening it, it'll do this. So I'll just close out of it, and we'll open it again. It should just open like so. Now I have this one notification here. So when I open this particular app, you can see there's a 1 right here. I'm going to click there, and it's going to pop up with what that notification was right here. So this one in particular is looking for my response because someone sent me a calendar invite. So I can decline it, click maybe, click accept, and this one actually already ended, so I'll just accept it, and it'll remove it from there. Depending on what the application is and the notification is, you'll handle it based on that. All right, now let's talk about searching the internet and the browsers that are on this MacBook Air. By default, your browser is Safari. So this is it right here. If you've used an iPhone or a Mac in the past, very simple. You know this already. You can access it from your Launchpad here as well, right here. It opens up like this by default. The background and everything looks like this because that's how my iCloud has this set up, and you can customize this so that it looks a little bit different for you. And you can see some of my favorite websites here, I guess, are already here. I haven't really set them up, just a couple I guess are here, but you can customize this whole page, and it's not going to be anything that we're going to get into right now, but searching is simple. You've got your search bar at the top. You can find anything you want. So Apple's website, you can just type it in, click enter, you'll be taken to Apple's website. Scrolling on a Mac is pretty simple. You're going to use 2 fingers and you're going to scroll upwards. If you want to go down, you're going to kind of scroll downwards on the trackpad. That's how that works. If you are clicking on anything, it's a 1-finger click for links. You're using a double click with 1 finger to open files. If you want to right click on anything here, you can right click with 2 fingers again. It'll bring that up. Now there is a forced press. So if you do find a link or anything, you can press and press with a little bit more force on a link, and it'll give you a peek of what page is behind that. So we can see this right here in Safari. It's all about this iPhone. We're learning more. You can actually scroll right through it and see what it's all about without actually leaving the initial page here. So keep that in mind. If you're interested and you're not picking this up right now on how the trackpad works, there is a full tutorial that you can check out. The links in the description for that one as well. That way you can use the trackpad to its full capacity. So that's going to be your browser. If you want to download any other browsers, like you want Chrome, we can download Chrome on our Mac. I like to have multiple browsers just in case one browser is not working very well at the time. Choose whatever you want. You can use Chrome and all that. Set it as your default if you'd like. But it's pretty simple. If you've used the internet before, Safari is very easy. You have an option here at the top to open a new tab, so you can have multiple tabs open. You have this right here, which is going to show you all your open tabs. You can close them out and then add a new one if you'd like. You can click File, New Private Window to kind of give you a more incognito search, so it's not going to be as tracked. You can just play around with it as you go, and you'll figure it out. It's pretty simple, just like any other internet browser. All right, so that is the beginner's guide to the MacBook Air. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below. If you ran into any trouble, feel free to let me know. I'll be happy to help you out. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and click that bell notification box so you're notified when I post more great tips, tricks, and tutorial videos on this new MacBook Air. I have many more videos to come. Like I said, there's already a trackpad tutorial video there that you can take a look at. We're gonna go through so many more features so that way you can get the most out of your new MacBook Air. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.